So ordinarily at this point, I would introduce who I'm talking to, but there seems to be no point at all because it's Bryan Robson. How are you, Brian? You okay?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, all good.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate your time. So it's been a nice quiet start to the season, really, hasn't it? Very, very uneventful, very little going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit disappointing because, last year we put in some real poor performances. But I think at the start of this year, I was really encouraged with the game against Arsenal because I thought we were the better team. Just didn't get a break. We had a bad mistake to concede the goal. So I think they were worthy of a draw, if not actually go on and win the game. Because I thought it was a blatant foul on Kuna in the box where the Arsenal defender went straight through the back of him. So it wasn't to be, but I think the lads picked themselves up pretty well against Fulham. Started really brightly, scored the goal. Yeah, and you thought, now go on and win this game. But they fell away in the second half for whatever reason. So it was a bit disappointing because they were in charge of the game at one stage, and then they let Fulham right back into the game. And it cost them 2 points. Burnley, bit fortunate because we played really well early on the game again. Uh, you get the goal and you think, no, here we go now. Be dominant and put in a really good performance where you control the game. But Burnley came back into the game because we missed too many chances. And then we're fortunate at the end to get the penalty. I was a pen. I mean, it was a blatant pullback, but
Yeah.
it was fortunate that it was in the last minute, which got us the 3 points. So hopefully that's us up and running. But we've got hard fixtures coming up with City and Chelsea. Um, but you've got to do well against these teams if you want to finish in Champions League position.
100%. Well, let's just enjoy the international break for a few days. A nice quiet few days first. Dear
Well,
me.
it's always good going into the internationals, and you've got to win under your belt. It's a good way for everybody to go away, start uh, enjoying the international football, come back, not refreshed, but come back where you go, right, here we go. We've got to take up the challenge again in the league games and get us moving up the league.
Brilliant. Brian, I wanted to talk to you today about the captaincy. So obviously, you are essentially the benchmark in United's history, yourself and Roy probably. No disrespect to anyone else. I see echoes now in where the club was when Sir Alex first came in. Obviously, he came in midway through the season. He had a difficult first 6, 7 months, and then started the following season quite slow, couple of draws. A lot of parallels to how we are now and the situation that Bruno's in. I was just wondering, at times like that, when you really have to dig in and get through and get everything moving, what's the captain's role?
Well, I think firstly, the manager when he comes in and you're not doing particularly well, you've got to start rebuilding. And I think that's what Alex did, and that's what Ruben's doing now. Um, but you've got to sort of work out who the players in the club to best to do the job the way they want to be done, or the way Ruben wants it to be done. And you've got to build, and then hopefully you improve the squad, you improve your team. They get to know as a new manager what you want from your players, and the players have got to understand that. And Ruben's done that. That rebuilding with the club, and so it's going to be really interesting to see how he goes. Now, as far as captaincy goes, I think Roy Keane did Bruno a favour when he criticised him on TV and said he wasn't a real captain and all this sort of thing. But instead of reacting and uh, Bruno saying, having a war with Roy Keane, a war of words in the media and everything. Uh, I thought it was a great answer when Bruno said, look, I'll take on board what Roy Keane said, and try and improve. And I really do think he's took it on board. And Bruno now, I know that he uh, gets players together for a meal, and he started that at the end of last season. He's continued it this season, and he knows how important it is to get the group of players together and have a real camaraderie. And then on the pitch, you can see he's taking what the manager is wanting to achieve, and you can see him shouting at people, getting them organised. So I think he has took it on board. The only thing Bruno can't do, he can get on the ball, and he's brilliant on the ball. He works really hard, and touch wood, his fitness levels are great, and he hardly ever gets injured. But the thing with Bruno, he can't lead by example as far as getting into tackles and being really physical, because that's not Bruno's forte in his game. But he's doing everything else. I mean, he's scoring some cracking goals. Like I say, his work rate is terrific. He's starting to shout at people and try and organise them and that. But what I've got to say is the other players have got to take that on board as well. And it can't all come from your captain. It's other people have got to lead by example, and join in and help Bruno by organising themselves. And that's what I had from about 1990. You know, we had like Schmeichel, we had Brucey, Incy, Roy Keane, Cantona, and they're all captains, really. And so that's a help because they would organise, would shout at each other, would have a go at each other. And so you're getting each other going. And I think a few of the lads have got to take that on board and help Bruno out this season.
Well, that's one of the things. One of the developments this summer has been the leadership group, hasn't it? I think that there's six players now in that kind of that tier between the manager and the squad. So it's been identified, hasn't it, as the need for more people to step up.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. You can see it on the pitch that people like Delit from the back, and then Harry Maguire's obviously like a good leader, a good captain, but he hasn't really played this season so far. But people like them, they're leaders, and then Casemiro's got unbelievable experience. So Casa's got to do it as well. So I think they're all taking on board what is needed. I'm sure they'll do a lot better this season.
When you were talking about yourself and what you do to get the team going, I always come back to the Sheffield Wednesday game. Obviously, Brucey got the headlines for the two goals, but you came on as sub that day and you just tore about the pitch, changed the game. I think it was only like last 25 minutes after we gone 1-0 down. But you do, there is it hauls with the players along, doesn't it? When your teammates can see you tearing the challenges and just saying, right, we're winning this, we're going down, or at least going down fighting. It sends a message, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, that Sheffield Wednesday game, we're 1-0 down. The boss puts me on, and I just felt, yeah, I've got to win a lot of tackles, um, you know, put Sheffield Wednesday on the back foot. And I think when I did that, all the lads sort of followed me through that. So it wasn't just me, it was the rest of the lads. We started making it a more fierce pace to the game. Everybody was challenging really well, and then Brucey comes up with two great headers, and wins the game for us. So, sometimes it's got to be a physical game, and that's where the Grimsby game was really disappointing. And I know the manager made a lot of changes, but that's where the squad players have got to step up and prove themselves if they want to be in the first team. Now, we lost the physical battle in the first 20 minutes. And when you play a low league club in a cup competition, the first thing you've got to do is win the battles, and then your extra ability as a Premiership club will come out. But if you don't start that way, then like we did, you can get beat.
Just on the Grimsby game, just to wrap up, one thing that I noticed, obviously, there's the immediate disappointment of Brian and Mbeumo missing the last penalty, but then it struck me that the first thing Bruno did was go straight over to him, put his arm around him just to console him, but also it felt like he was kind of protecting him from the supporters swarming onto the field. I mean, that kind of alludes to the off-field stuff, the off-field part of the captaincy that you mentioned. I mean, how big is that, the human side of the role?
No, it is because you're always going to get beat in games when either somebody makes a mistake or they haven't quite done enough to win you the game. So that happens to more or less every player. But what it is, as long as it's not happening too many times, you encourage the player because they've got to forget about that and get on with the next game. And I'm pleased that Brian scored the goal against Burnley because that'll give him confidence to go on with the rest of the season.
Brilliant. Brian, thanks so much for your time. Legend and a hero. Thank you.
Cheers, Steve.